Welcome back to another video. Today I'm discussing the Goku Black Arc and why it shouldn't be overly hated. Now, as we know, most people that's watched Dragon Ball Super and has watched the Goku Black Arc is controversial among the community, as they don't know whether it's good, it's bad, or it's For me, it's a pretty good arc. It's the second or third arc in this Dragon Ball Super at least series, as they go over Battle of Gods and Revenge of F. So it may be one of the first of second or third official arcs, of course, after that little tournament arc with the little dogs that happened. Unless that's after this, I could be mixing up the timelines. But anyway, most people say this is a bad executed arc, just off of the benefactor of how it all happened. One, we really don't know what version of Trunks this is, as our version of Trunks should be more powerful, has purple hair, and this version of Trunks has blue hair. He could turn Super Saiyan, but he always whines and complains to the utmost when it comes to the battle that unfortunately the other Trunks did not go to. So his writing is completely different from when it was in Z. Granted, we have to know Kishi Toriyama at this time is overseeing the project of Super, but inevitably he did take like the hands-off approach. He does some things, he does some of the designs, of course, but mostly is not entirely involved, at least at this time, rest in peace, in the writing of Super. Also, we have to mention that the anime Super that I'm talking about is much different than the manga. I can't really speak on the manga. Of course, the reason the anime and manga are different is because the anime caught up to the manga and the anime overtook the manga in terms of releases and episodes. So they had to really make their own way of the story, just because they did not have the source material to adapt into the anime at that time. So you'll see stark differences between the two. Other than that, my fault, my bad. Other than that, the only reason people say it's a bad arc because the story is a mess, the characters are not written correctly. But I will say Goku Black Arc is one of the best arcs in Dragon Ball Super. Not Dragon Ball Z ever, but in Dragon Ball Super. As in terms of, you have to think of the emotional impact and what we saw on screen for the first time. When Goku, or at least Black Goku, was first introduced, he murks his best friend Bulma. Now at this time we have no idea what version of Goku this is, or the evil intentions of this Goku. We didn't even know this was Zamasu at the first. So crazy hype. While also we see another Super Saiyan form being introduced. Now this is Goku Black exclusive, so we'll never say Super Saiyan Rose again being introduced. Wow. We get to see Goku really wild out for the one time when they mentioned that they had to kill his family, Chi-Chi and Goten at the time, since a version in their timeline, Gohan, I think, is dead, or at least Gohan attempts to battle them, and then in turn dies because Goku and Goten still being alive is kind of weird. But timelines get really messed up in terms of like all three of them. Now, so we get to see an incredible battle sequence. We also get to see Vegito. Another complaint about this arc, making the Patara earrings retcon from being permanent to now just being on a time limit. And the more power you accrue, the less time limit you have. So I think Vegito had about 5 minutes of fighting, where he really does damage, but inevitably cannot finish off Zamasu because of Zamasu's immortal body. So it's really stopping him from killing him. So in terms of Vegito, I'm a Gogeta fan, still has never won a fight. Now, in terms of that, in my defense, and why I'm saying Goku Black is a good arc, and I'm not saying there's not problems with it, why it's a very good arc, and when it's one of the top 3 arcs in Dragon Ball Super, yes, including the Granola, the Moro, any of the arcs that is currently going on in the manga right now, is because of the shock value, the twist, the turns. I don't like what they did to Trunks' character either, but I consistently play over my head, this is a different version of Trunks. Of course, I think all Trunks go through like the canon timeline event of having to go back in time, having to get help, having to train. Their Gohan dies. I think all Trunks goes through that, except the current Trunks that is in the canon, or at least in the canon DBZ timeline, just because they don't go through that traumatic transversor. You know, they don't go through that because that, you know, a version of Trunks has to go back and stop the androids. So inevitably, you know, timeline's future is a mess. My only major complaint about this arc, though I get it how it ended, is that they erased everybody. I mean, he erased the whole universe, erased the whole timeline, the Yami King of that timeline, because that's the only way they could have got rid of Zamasu. They legit Deus Ex Machina that whole thing, and I don't think that was a really good solution. But I understand you really couldn't defeat Zamasu in terms of, at least of anything, as he got his immortality from the Super Dragon Balls. So I quite understand. I quite understand that. That's my only complaint. But again, I think it's a top 3 arc comparing other arcs to it. The actions, the shock value, and this is when it initially came out. Of course, when we look back at it, there's consistency issues. Inevitably, Beerus still not stepping in. The Kais being consistently attacked, and now none of the God of Destructions really figuring out why so many of them are dying. So that not taking action really interests me. Why the God of Destructions didn't take actions, especially when 1, if not 3 of the Kais die. There's 12 Gods of Destruction, 8 Gods of Destructions. So, you know, there's 8 or 12. I could be wrong. So inevitably that should have put them on notice, and Zamasu and Goku Black should have been dealt with promptly. Anyway, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Think about this. Goku Black being a top 3 arc, rank them. I got Goku Black as my 3, Tournament of Power as my 2, and I really do like the Mora arc. Mora arc is number 1 for me. Anyway, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.